So I've been doing this YouTube thing for about half a year, and I've started to notice a troubling pattern. Whenever I make a video that is criticizing a certain piece of art, I'll almost always see in the comments someone asking me, why do I hate this piece of art? And man, I saw it with my Star Trek videos about warrior races. I saw it with the Fantastic Four video, definitely with my Expedition 33 video. At first I tried responding in the comments, but then I started to get self-conscious. Am I failing as an educator to communicate my beliefs? Because I don't hate this media. I love this media. I mean, Star Trek is my favorite show. I started to wonder, why are people confusing criticism for hate? Hi, my name is Tim, I write for television, and let me make this clear. I do not hate any of the pieces of media that I have made videos about on this channel. Media crit has changed a lot since the advent of Twitter. A sudden democratization of the media crit landscape meant that there weren't anymore this select few group of culture writers determining the cultural landscape, and that was very exciting. But over the last decade, I've noticed that media crit has moved away from genuine critical discourse and more towards tribalism. I see factions being created in favor of a particular piece of media, and within these camps, no active media crit is happening. It is more like a political rally. No negative opinions are allowed in the space, no critical examinations. Meanwhile, on the flip side, the group dedicated to criticizing this piece of media is just as dogmatic. All bad faith, low effort takedowns, endless mentions of plot holes and pandering, or the most ludicrous critique of all, they are destroying my childhood. No one is actually examining the media in question, they are instead proving their loyalty to a cause. This is tribalism. Tribalism isn't just about supporting people in your tribe. There needs to be an in-group and an out-group. There needs to be an us and a them. You can't point out the flaws in your favorite piece of media because that would be providing ammunition to them, your enemies, the haters.
Lunatics, haters, and punk trash.
If you're in opposition, you can't say something nice about the media in question because that would be against the approved messaging. Through this lens, media discourse becomes more like a team sport, where each side is trying to rack up points. All that matters is winning. So what are some examples of tribalism in media criticism, and what can we learn from them? First, we should talk about what separates a fandom from a tribe. Ask yourself this: if I go to the social media hub for your fandom, do I see mostly posts that are positive about the thing you love, or negative about your rival's fandom? Is this a place to love DC movies or hate MCU movies? If the whole space is skewed towards hate posting, that is a hallmark of tribalism. Don't examine your own characteristics, be hypercritical of your enemies. Another hallmark sign of tribalism, and I hate that I have to point this out, but it's when people criticize a piece of media without actually seeing the media in question. This is such a strangely common thing that I spot in fandoms of all type, either loving or hating a piece of media before you've actually seen it. Sometimes being unable to finish a movie is levied as some sort of critique, which is absolutely insane. If you don't finish a piece of media, you are categorically disqualified from having an informed opinion about it. Any community that encourages review bombing is not a place that is doing healthy, good faith media crit. That is a tribe. Another way to spot tribalism is look at the credentials of the person doing the media analysis. For example, Ben Shapiro is a political pundit. He has a political message that he has built a very large platform around conveying. When he reviews Superman or Barbie, he is not doing so from the position of artistic enthusiasm, he is doing so as part of a political message. This is not a firm foundation for genuine media crit, but this is an obvious foundation for political, tribal talking points. Another hallmark of tribalism is an obsession with box office numbers or streaming numbers or Metacritic ratings. A movie's popularity has nothing to do with its artistic quality. Just watch any Twilight movie if you need evidence. But I noticed that box office numbers are often used as evidence that critics are bad because this movie didn't make any money, so it must be bad, and this movie made a lot of money, so it must be good. Again, this only makes sense if you see media as an arena where the tribes try to score points. The thing about tribalism is that it creates a no-win situation. Right or wrong, the tribe poisons the well of critical discourse. I remember when the Little Mermaid announced that they would be casting a young black woman as Ariel. I saw the tribes form immediately. People who believed that the skin color of Ariel matters at all decided that this was an insult to the original, and it was a bad movie. This tribe did not engage in media crit as the movie hadn't been released yet. All they could talk about was skin color, a genuinely inconsequential feature of the story actually being told. But then the movie came out, and let me tell you, it was not a very good film. It suffered from the same problems that plague a lot of Disney remakes: soulless CGI animals and inflated runtimes. But Disney had put the critics in a bind. All over the internet, Disney was happily sharing stories of obvious racists panning the film. So now reviewers had to ask themselves the question, do you want to agree with the racists? Do you want to be on the wrong side of history? Do you want them to win? No one did, so I saw a bunch of very lukewarm reviews of the movie that praised it for its diverse casting. But diverse casting is equally as banal a piece of praise as it is racist a form of critique. Disney had been gifted the perfect straw man, allowing them to paint all derision as an expression of racism. I'm sure all the tribalists would be very unhappy to learn that all their racist comments only helped Disney's marketing campaign. Tribalism can also lead to a piece of media becoming immune to criticism. Something like Black Panther. This movie was a cultural sensation. It was a popular box office smash, as well as the most critically revered Marvel movie ever made. It was very, very hard to be critical of this film. The way people talked about this movie was like it was the greatest entry to black film canon since Do the Right Thing. To be critical of this movie felt like being critical of black power. To be critical of this movie with my skin tone was asking to be ostracized. The thing is, Black Panther suffers from a lot of the same problems that plague other Marvel films, notably a very boring third act. Problems that movie critics were very happy to point out for those other films, but not Black Panther. I don't want to imply that Black Panther is a bad film. It is clearly a one-of-a-kind picture filled with sensational imagery and world building, but I don't think anything is above criticism, especially a Disney movie. Why is it always Disney behind this culture war stuff? I've seen this over and over with the Ghostbusters remake and Star Wars and the Snyder Cut. Tribalist discourse completely drowns out any actual critical discourse. I hear a lot this idea that people don't want politics in their movies, and I think this is a facile complaint because movies always reflect the culture of the time, and politics is just where culture intersects with power, so movies will always have politics in them. Portraying law enforcement as good or bad, that's political. I mean, simply portraying the military in any way is political. There is no such thing as non-political cultural artifacts. But I still think this complaint of too much politics in movies is a result of an actual grievance. I think that the people who complain about politics in their movies are actually complaining about a perceived agenda in the movie that they oppose. They are detecting a tribal enemy behind the wheel. And even if there's nothing politically objectionable in it, it is still made by the enemy. And by allowing it to become popular, the tribalist is worried they are allowing their opponent to gain a foothold in popular culture. And just so we're clear, I don't think tribalist thinking affects only one political party. I see this kind of thing happen on the left, right, and center. Now, I don't want to say that you should never bring up politics or messaging when you're engaging with criticism. If you have a political reason for objecting to Triumph of the Will or Birth of the Nation, that's fine. I'm on record with my objections about The Dark Knight. But it is possible to talk about a movie, about its politics and its messaging, without seeing the movie as a piece in some culture war, but instead as a piece of art that should be viewed on its own. And I think this is where the old school movie critics of the 90s had it right. Yes, they were snooty gatekeepers, but they came from a journalistic background that trained them to think objectively and without bias. Now that we've described tribalism, I want to talk a little bit about where I think tribalism is taking us. See, one of the side effects of tribalism is that once you're in this mindset, it's hard not to imagine that everyone else isn't in the same mindset. So let's say a movie comes out that is met with universal acclaim, something like One Battle After Another. A movie which also touches on several hot-button political topics, like police violence, racism, and illegal immigration. What happens is one tribe perceives this movie as the enemy, so they perceive its critical acclaim as being the result of their enemy's disingenuous tribal thinking. The tribalist thinks no one actually likes this movie, they're just saying they do to pursue a political agenda. This creates a split reality, a world where two groups cannot have a meaningful discussion because neither side trusts that the other side actually believe what they're saying. So how do we fix this? First, avoid tribalist thinking. Examine art without participating in a culture war. If you love a TV show or movie, be honest about its flaws. Seek out opposing points of view. Embrace imperfection. If someone hates something that you love, accept it. Art is not meant to be defended. It is meant to be examined. To be uncritical of art is to be unappreciative. Second, share this video. If you think I've helped you understand media discourse better, maybe I can help someone else. And maybe subscribe. Here at this channel, I am critical of everything and hate nothing. And finally, you don't have to be a critic. You don't need a 5-page paper justifying why you like something. Sometimes it's okay to like something because it makes you feel good. And that's enough. You are enough. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.